Historical reconstruction of Arian X.
Episode 79, The Death of Yu, the Founder of the Xia Dynasty. In the fabricated Chinese history, it appears that Yu, the founder of the Xia Dynasty, passes the country to his children. But in the actual history, which is Korean history, Yu of Xia dies during the war, and the country falls in the generation of his grandson. Now I will show you these contents of actual history. 1. Identity of King Yu of Xia in Korean history. The identity of King Yu of Xia, said to be the first dynasty of Jeongbunli, separation of religion and politics, was hidden in Hwandangoji, which is called a Korean history book. I will confirm this for you. Dangun, the primordial emperor of Jeongbunli, sat upright, stabilized the world, obtained the profound way, Do, and enlightened the multitude of people. He ordered Pangu to reclaim land, Songjo Dasin to build houses, Goshi to preside over farming, Shinji to manage documents recording history, Gisong to manage medicine, Nile to preside over family registers, Hui to manage weather and astronomy, and ordered Yu to build military forces. He welcomed the daughter of Habek, river god, as his queen, and had her raise silkworms, so the simple and thick politics shines repeatedly in all directions. Hwandangoji, Jeongshin Sekesa. The Habek appearing in the historical content above was the Buddha. Did you find Yu, the founder of the Xia dynasty, appearing in Chinese history in the sentence above? Ordered Yu to build military forces. Yu of Xia was the person in charge of military power for Dangun, the primordial emperor of Jeongbunli. That is why he always had a numerical advantage in the fight against the Yuho clan, the special envoy of the Emperor Dangun Wanggum, but he lost in the great cause of the world. 2. King Yu of Xia in Budoji, the historical record of the Bright Land. Now then, I also quote King Yu of Xia appearing in the historical records of the Bright Land. The Yuho clan dispatched by Dangun Wanggum, the primordial emperor of Jeongbunli, warned him frequently, but Shun, only answered yes, yes, and did not correct his ways. He finally accepted the request of Yao, who launched the coup, found and killed wise men, and conquered the Mio tribe, Miojok. The Yuho clan, the special envoy of the primordial emperor, finally could not bear it, scolded him, and subjugated Yao, who launched the coup, and his son Shun. Shun cried out to heaven and wailed, and Yao, having no place to hide, abdicated to Shun and confined himself, Japye. The emperor's special envoy Yuho clan said, "This cannot be left uncorrected. Also, those who commit offenses without knowing can sometimes be forgiven and taught, but those who commit offenses knowingly cannot be forgiven even if they are father and son or brothers." He immediately ordered his second son Yusong to lead influential scholars, Kwanzaa, gather a crowd, announce the crimes, and attack him. Fighting for several years, they finally abolished Dango, Tang capital, founded by Yao, who launched the coup in the imperial castle. Yao died while confined, and Shun fled to the fields of Chang'o, and his clique scattered in all directions. Yu, a member of the clique of Yao who launched the coup, had a grudge against Shun for killing his father, so he chased him down here and killed him. Shun's two wives also threw themselves into the river and committed suicide. Yu soon said, "I sacrifice my life for justice to achieve merit," comforted Yusong's troops who subjugated the clique of Yao and Shun and returned. As the emperor's special envoy Yuho clan withdrew and observed Yu's conduct, at this time Yu moved the capital, gathered a crowd, repaired shields and spears, resisted the Yuho clan, and called himself the king of Xia, Hawang. Budoji, Ghana Publishing. It was said that Yu, the founder of the Xia dynasty, executed the clique of Yao and Usun who launched the coup, moved the capital, and called himself king of Xia, Hawang. That is, the fief that Yu, the founder of the Xia dynasty, received from Dangun Wanggum, the primordial emperor of Jeongbunli, was the Xia land where the Da Befablangcheng, great papal court of Dharma, was located. Based on this, he seized the imperial castle, Yangcheng, of Guanzhong, and claimed to be the emperor of the Xia dynasty, naming the dynasty after the place name of his base region, which was his fief. 3. Founding of Xia dynasty and death of Yu of Xia.
Yu, who held the Xia dynasty as a fief and was the military commander of Dangun Wanggum, the primordial emperor of Zhejiangbunli, took advantage of the chaotic situation to lead troops, seize the imperial castle, and claim to be emperor. Let's examine that situation. Budoji Chapter 20. Yu, the founder of the Xia dynasty, finally betrayed the existing system and set an altar at Dosan, Mount Do. He conquered the tribes of the southwest, called them feudal lords, gathered them at Dosan, and received tribute. This was imitating the system of the existing regime, but it was very sudden. Accordingly, the world became noisy, and many fled to Budo. Yu soon blocked the water and land routes, cut off contact with Budo, and prevented coming and going. However, he dared not attack Budo. At this time, the Yuho clan lived in the west, gathered the descendants of Mio, communicated with the places where Sobu and Hu lived, and contacted the tribes of the southwest, so their power was very vigorous and formed a town, Up, by themselves. The emperor's special envoy Yuho clan soon sent influential scholars, Guanza, to admonish Yu. Yao, who launched the coup, did not know the heavenly number, Chensu. He split the land and treated heaven and earth as he pleased. Taking advantage of the opportunity, he made an altar alone, drove out people to privately raise dogs or sheep, and then called himself emperor and handle things alone. The world is silent like earth and stone or grass and trees, and heavenly principle, Chen Li, flows backward and falls into vanity, Hemong. This is stealing, Jiao, heavenly power, Chen Wan, with falsehood, and committing the tyranny of selfish desire. If the emperor acts on behalf of heavenly power, shouldn't he be able to open and close the sun and moon, and manipulate all things? Emperor is the essence of numbers, Suje, not something a person falsely claims. If falsely claimed, it only becomes a bad prank of fraud and vanity. Human affairs are the verification of reason, Rijay, and world affairs are clarifying the work of that person who verified reason. What else could there be besides this? Therefore, the law of Budo is to clearly prove the principle of heavenly number, make people perform their ordinary duties, and receive their ordinary blessings, Bone Book. Therefore, although there is sequence between the speaker and the listener, there is no high and low. Although there is familiarity and unfamiliarity between the giver and the receiver, one cannot draw in or dry out, so the 4 seas are equal and all tribes act for themselves.
The emperor's special envoy Yuho clan admonished firmly like this, advising to abolish all laws and return to Budo. But Yu stubbornly did not listen. Conversely, claiming it was a threat and insult, he soon led a crowd and attacked the emperor's special envoy Yuho clan. However, he failed several times and finally died at the Mosan camp. Accordingly, tens of thousands of the Sha multitude were resentful and wanted to die. These were almost all the crowd who did flood control together with Yu. Yu's son Qi led a large army at this time and advanced to the town of the Yuho clan, but the Yuho clan's army was only a few thousand. However, whenever the Sha soldiers fought, they were defeated and never raised their battle record once. Qi finally became afraid, retreated, and could not attack again, so the crowd became agitated. Accordingly, the Yuho clan saw that the people of Sha were blind and thought it difficult to cure them. Intending to teach the tribes of the southwest in the future, he led his crowd and left, so the town naturally disappeared. From this, the region of Taiyuan south of Chonsan became unsettled and noisy as if without a master, so the so-called king was blind, and the people became blind, and darkness doubled upon darkness. Dosan, where Yu of Sha gathered feudal lords and set up an altar, is Gumgongsan Mountain, where the Da Pupwang Chang and the Buddha resided. The region of Taiyuan south of Tonsan refers to the region that Yu of Sha held as a fief. It explains the chaotic situation after the death of Yu of Sha. With the death of Yu of Sha, the Sha dynasty went to the brink of collapse. However, a major event occurred to the descendant of Dangun Wanggum, the primordial emperor of Zhejiangbunli, and the political situation changed rapidly. Chapter 26. At this time, Dangun, the primordial emperor of Zhejiangbunli, was deeply worried about the situation of Sha and finally entered the mountain to exclusively practice the way of resolving confusion and restoring the origin, Heihak Bookbone. Budoji, the second Dangun. BC 2040-2083. The time when Crown Prince Budu taught the 5 elements flood control method O Hangchi Subab to Yu of Sha at Dosan was BC 2027. Appointed eldest son Galark as Crown Prince, the third Dangun. Budoji, the son of Dangun, the primordial emperor of Zhejiangbunli, inherited the 3 heavenly seals, Chunbu Samen, proved that heaven and earth are one principle, made human life one family, greatly raised the way of ancestors, Bujo, widely practiced the law of heavenly heroes, Chanung, and devoted himself to the work of verifying reason, Zhengri, in the human world. He early on communicated closely with the Unhai tribe and attempted to make Sha return, but the hierarchical way, Edo, gradually flourished, and he finally could not achieve his will. Budoji passed the heavenly seals Chunbu to his son Umnusi and entered the mountain. However, the third Dangun, Umnusi, had a vow of great compassion, Dabi, from birth.
Inheriting the 3 heavenly seals, felt pity that Sha fell into misery after the fall following Yu's death, and felt sad that the truth fell into the region of falsehood. Finally, he sealed the heavenly seals Chunbu, the certification of the emperor, at the altar of the bright land Myongji, immediately entered the mountain to exclusively practice the great vow of restoring the origin Bukban, and did not come out for 100 years, so the remaining crowd wailed. Budoji, translated by Kim and Su. Do you know where the altar of the bright land Myongji was, where the 3rd Dangun Emperor Umnu gave up the emperor's certification and sealed it? It was precisely the place where the Xia dynasty, the Da Pupwang Chung, was located. The 3rd Dangun Emperor Umnu felt pity for the Xia tribes falling into misery, yielded the heavenly seals Chunbu, the emperor certification received from the Buddha and the Da Pupwang Chung, shook off everything, and returned to being a rustic person. This was the actual history that took place in Turkmenistan, Central Asia. The forces who fabricated history used this historical situation in reverse, separating and fabricating Xia, which received the transfer of the heavenly seals, the emperor's certification, as the origin of Chinese history, and the descendants of Emperor Dangun who transferred the heavenly seals as Korean history. Now, Xia inherited the heavenly seals, the symbol of the emperor, became the emperor, and became Dangun, a subject of the Buddha. In the next episode, I will reveal the reconstruction and fall of the Xia dynasty. Please refer to the attached blog for details regarding the YouTube video release schedule and titles, as well as the title and table of contents of the prepared book. .com/Gogan Garcia.